Hi everybody, my name is Kaylee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay everybody, so long time no see. Not really, I posted a video not that long ago. I've been super sick the past few days, ever since I got back from Florida. I'm sorry, my dog wanted to come and snuggle with me during this. Okay everybody, before we get into today's story time, I would like to give a big shout out to Keen for sponsoring today's video. Now, if you've watched my story times before, you will know that I've talked about Keen briefly in some of my other videos. So I'm going to be telling you guys about my most recent experience with Keen. So a few days ago, I was looking for some guidance on a topic that is very rough for me to discuss with anybody that I know. So I called one of the advisors on Keen just to kind of get some guidance. Because recently I have been doing a lot of unnecessary spending and I'm scared that it's getting out of hand. And let me tell you, as soon as I brought up the problem, she was able to bring up every reason why I'm having these issues. And some of them were reasons that I didn't even think about until she brought them up, and then I realized those were also valid. But she was able to provide me with some great advice and methods on how to save and how to mentally train myself. I don't know, it's probably not a topic that some of you have issues with, so enough about that. One of the things that I love about Keen is it was 9 o'clock whenever I decided to call her, and to be honest, I was not expecting an answer because of the fact that it was really late and also people are in different time zones. But she did answer, and there are advisors on the app 24/7. Even if you can't get somebody to answer you at a certain time, you can schedule a call with somebody and they will call your phone. And say if you're a new Keen customer, you want to try it out, you can get your first 10 minutes for only $1.99, and then after that, pricing depends on which advisor you choose. They're super affordable and you just have more access to advisors than you would say where you live locally. Because I know that my stepmom used to drive like an hour and a half to go see her psychic, which leads me into my next thing. Most advisors on Keen specialize in all different things. For example, relationship advice, career advice, guidance in life. And I know some of y'all be needing that relationship advice, so with the story times that y'all be sending me.
Child. Anyway, so
last but not least, Keen will send all of its users weekly discounts that it's having. All you have to do is check your email. So don't forget to click the link down below to check out Keen and get your first 10 minutes for $1.99. Back to the video. Okay, so as always, before we get into today's story time, I'm going to give a quick rundown about how things work around here for the people who are new here. One, these story times are sent in by anonymous people, and for most of the video, I will be looking in this direction because my mirror's over here and I would like to see what I'm doing. I do tell these story times in a first person point of view. If you don't like that, then leave. It's currently the next day. Recorded the video last night. My camera wasn't even recording the whole time and I should have known because I didn't have to like click the record button again. Okay, so story time about my arsonist ex. Now let me give you the definition of arsonist if you don't know what that means. A person who commits arson. And if you don't know what arson means, the criminal act of deliberately setting a property on fire. Alright, so a little background information. I was 17 years old whenever this all happened, and it was the beginning of my senior year. Summer was about to end whenever this all happened, and school was about to start back up. And I've been in a relationship with this guy named Devin for the past 2 years. And you know, everything was going very well with him until last year. And at that time, I would have been a junior in high school and he would have been a senior. He low-key became an angry person and was always mad at someone or something, and I really didn't know why. And every time that I asked him, he would brush it off and act as if it was non-existent. Like he would just walk around a freaking angry person and then be like, "What are you talking about?" Like your attitude, sis. The pub. So at that point, I really started to get fed up with our relationship. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the kid and I know that he loved me, but with my mom being in an abusive relationship right before this, like she had just gotten out of the relationship right before Devin started acting this way. So after we tried to work things out in the summer, nothing was helping our relationship and we just decided to call it quits. I mean, I decided that. He was low-key butthurt about it, but yeah. So I pretty much told him, hey, I need to focus on myself. I'm going into my senior year, and the past year has been really hard on us, and I'm willing to talk to you, but only over the phone. At first, he was super mad about it, but I mean, like, I don't blame him. I'd be sad if I didn't want to be with me too. No, but really, he would call me and he would say things like, oh, after all the time I spent and the stuff that I've done for you, this is how you repay me, and more things along that line. Like, sometimes I would just sit there and literally think, this man must be out of his mind, because not only was he a narcissist, but he was crazy. So eventually I just started to ignore him. And I want to say that lasted about a month. Well, it's the night of my senior homecoming, and I went with a group of friends to the dance, and we are all having a great time dancing and having a lot of fun. We are all having a very good time singing and dancing and all of that. Whenever all of a sudden I get a call from my mother, which was really weird. I know you're probably thinking, oh, why is that so weird to get a call from your mom? Like, my mom usually didn't call me whenever she knows that I have like something going on, you know, like she doesn't call me during school, she doesn't call me whenever I'm at parties. She's just not that type of person. Like, it has to be major emergency for her to call me. So I hurry up and answer the phone, and before I could even get a word out, Devin's on the phone. So now I'm even more worried. The first thing that Devin says is, we need to talk. Like, yeah, we do. Why the hell are you calling me off my mom's phone? And what did you do with my mother? Like, this is probably already 6 feet under. He's so crazy, I would not be surprised. Anyway, so I'm very confused about why Devin is calling me off my mom's phone after we have not talked for a month and a half. Shit's just weird. So he hangs up the phone right after that, and I call back seeing if I could talk to my mom, and I called multiple times and got no response. So now I guess you could say I'm freaking the out. So I decided to ditch the group I was with and the after party that I was supposed to go to, so I could go home and see if my mom was okay, because I did not have a good feeling about the whole situation. So I Uber home, and when I get there, I see my mom and Devin sitting on the front porch, which was even weirder because my mom hated Devin. Anyways, Devin was sitting there on his phone, and my mom was just watching him like a hawk. So I walk up to the porch and I ask my mom if she's okay, and she replies with, I will be once Devin replaces the phone that he broke after he talked to you. See, but he also has some anger issues. We do not like that. So then Devin yells out some elaborate story about dropping it in the sink after he washed his hands. Like, okay, buddy. So, of course, I was not having this, so I grabbed this man by the shirt and started pulling him off of my porch. Like, he was being super disrespectful towards my mother. Once he's off the porch, he drops to his knees and begs me to listen to him. He goes, please, just like, give me 1 minute to explain. So I look him dead in the eyes and I'm like, you have 1 minute to get the hell out of here before I call the cops. So instead of leaving, he proceeds to tell me that he misses me so much and that women are the problem in this world, but not me. I'm different. And I'm, quote, one of the good ones. And that if I gave him just one more chance, he wouldn't have to make my life a living hell. And that if I stay with him, I can be saved from a, quote, certain hell. So at this point, I start swinging at him. And after like 1 or 2 hits, I miss. And I end up falling. So he tried to pick me up off the ground, but he threw me back down once he probably realized that he had no escape plan and that my mom was calling the police. So he hopped in his car and took off somewhere. And after the police showed up, we gave them his name and his address. And apparently when they went there, he was no longer at his house. Cool, we just have a psycho on the loose. So the police informed us that they were putting out a warrant for his arrest, and if we happen to hear anything or see Devin, to give them a call right away. They also said that they were going to drive by his house daily just to see if he shows up or something. Unfortunately, a couple days passed and nothing. But everything was quite quiet, to be honest, so I was really hoping that he just left town for good. After school on Thursday, about a week after the whole incident, I decided to hang out with Candy, one of my really good friends from school. We went to one of our favorite coffee shops and got coffee, and then we went and picked up food to make a really nice dinner. After dinner, I got a call from my mom asking if I could come home and help her bake some cookies for her friend's party on Friday night. So, of course, I went home because I would do anything for my mom. And we ended up making some bomb-ass cupcakes, and we had a really good time, which can't say that I've had one in a really long time. So after, we ended up watching Dr. Phil and just comparing our lives to the people's lives who were on the show. Just some very good bonding time with my mom. After heading to bed, I finally lay down and closed my eyes for 3 minutes, and then I get a call. It's a random number, so of course I do not answer it. And literally right after I decline that call, calls me back again. So I put my phone on airplane mode and then I just go to sleep. Well, an hour later, I hear the fire alarm going off. And I wake up to my room smelling like absolute smoke. And the air is filled. So I hurry up, get out of bed, open the door, yell to my mom, asking if she's okay, and if she's just cooking, even though it's 1 in the morning, we just got done cooking. Suddenly, I hear her yelling back, and she sounds absolutely terrified. And then she goes, I don't know what's happening, da-da-da. So I slide on some shoes and run downstairs, only to find my mom trapped in between one of our small hallways, between the living room and the front door, with fire on both sides. So I'm screaming as I realize how f***ing big this fire actually is, and it was spreading very, very, very fast. I tried to get the fire extinguisher from the kitchen, and I did, but by the time I got back there, she already had to run through the fire, or she would have died. So I ended up running out the back door that was in our kitchen, and as soon as I got outside, the firemen and the police were showing up. They were able to save parts of the house, but basically 40% was gone. As for my mom, she was fine and everything, but she got 3rd-degree burns on 30% of her body. The police, along with my mother and I, at first thought it was an accident. We thought she forgot to turn off the oven, but we were actually all wrong. So the police ended up finding my phone and they turned it on and had me log in because I had told them about 2 calls I received before I went to sleep that night. Once we logged in and I turned off airplane mode, we found 10 missed calls and like 100 text messages from that unknown number. Turns out, of course, it was Devin, and he had pretty much gone off the deep end, saying things like, if you don't love me anymore, you can burn, I hate you, can't wait to see your melted face, you're such a bitch, I'm gonna enjoy watching you die, and so on. Obviously, the police put out more warrants for him, but this time they also had a manhunt for him. His mom provided the cops with information that he may be at his grandfather's cabin in the woods, 40 miles west of us. So after that, the police headed out there and flushed him out into the woods, where he lasted for about 18 hours until the dogs found him. Unfortunately, he ended up only getting 13 years in jail. And not to mention, after this whole situation, the cops had told us that he's actually gotten in trouble for this before. Now, he hasn't tried to set people's houses on fire who were actually sleeping in them, but he set on fire abandoned buildings and other things like that. Okay, everybody, so that is the end of today's story time. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more of me, maybe hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to know when the next time is that I'm going to post my video, make sure to click that bell. And if you guys would like to send in your anonymous story time, make sure to click the link down below. And I will see you next time.